Just the good old boys, never meaning no harm. Well, that sounds good, but the exhaust of those good old boys does not. I'm Tracy Harris, and this is my problem solution speech for argument and debate. Loud vehicles need to be properly enforced in the city of Lewisburg. The reason this is a problem is because new businesses in the downtown area have no defense against noise pollution. It triggers PTSD in our veteran community. It is illegal. It emits unsafe chemicals into the environment. Animals are also startled by the loud noises like this. It's also a public nuisance, much like construction work and other loud noises that we hear in our community. In this presentation, the main points or solutions that we're going to look at are enforcing current Tennessee law, creating new ones, and doing what most larger areas already do. And then kind of discovering what the most feasible solution is. With that, let's look first at Tennessee Code Annotated 559202. And this is a description of what that is. It basically covers what mufflers, muffler cutouts should or should not be and what the penalty is. And that is basically covered in A, B, and C. No person shall drive a motor vehicle on any road, street, or highway unless the motor vehicle is equipped with a muffler in good working order and in constant operation to prevent excessive or unusual noise and annoying smoke. It's also unlawful to use a muffler cutout or any motor vehicle upon any road, street, or highway. So, the solution one, we could have city officers enforce this existing Tennessee law. The pros to this one is we could have more money for our city. It could also roll money into the state of Tennessee revenue. We would have decreased emissions. The community would be happier because we would have less noise. Also, because it's an already existing law, there would not be a lot of research required to enforce this. It's already on the books. There would not be any specifics required as far as decibels or anything like that. The downside or cons to this is officers could miss critical seconds to save a life or death call by being tied up in a citation or non-critical call. Those seconds required for getting in the vehicle in a situation for just citing a noise ordinance could actually, be the seconds that mattered in saving a life. It's also hard to prove which vehicle a sound is coming from. So once they go to court, they could also fix that noise ordinance and then have that dropped, so it would be useless. In addition to the first option, keeping it local could be ideal. So the city of Lewisburg could create an independence noise ordinance on vehicle noise pollution. Many cities already enforce these strictly with decibel ordinances. Some of the pros to this is it would allow the city of Lewisburg to change it if and when it found it necessary to do so. Another pro to this is if they were going to enforce this or implement this change in the city of Lewisburg, they could have local citizens come in and have a city council meeting where the locals give their opinion, which would probably be not in support of this. And they could also do a local ballot. And that could increase voter turnout, maybe in a non-presidential year. It could also maybe entice the younger voting population to get involved with voting, as those tend to be the crowd that has the louder tailpipes and muffler cutouts, such as we see in this anyway. These are the state and local pros and cons here. As you can see in the PowerPoint here, they're pretty similar when you look at the state options and the local options. There's not that many differences. Mainly the biggest difference is that you see the good old boy system in the local government, and that the city and political connections can be unfair in your local rural towns such as the city of Lewisburg. And the biggest con to both of these is that the city of Lewisburg is already short on officers, so there's not a lot of manpower to spare. And then solution 3 is a little different but similar. It's having emissions testing, and it would eliminate most loud tailpipes, aftermarket exhausts, and the polluting vehicles from the road. The pros to this is cleaner air, of course, quieter vehicles, also increased money for the city, and possibly the creation of new jobs. Someone would have to man that station. When I lived in Nashville, I did have to go through what they call MARTA every year. You basically go through a little drive area, they stick something up your tailpipe, they give you an emissions certificate, and then that is what you get your tags with every year. There's not that much of a significant increase or price difference from what we pay here now. We pay right under $100 in the city of Lewisburg now, and that's about what it cost in the city of Nashville to register your tags. The only con to this could be people who are unable to repair their cars to have them in the proper working order. One thing that the city could do is maybe having some type of period of time where people that are at a significant financial burden could have a waiver for a period of time where they are given a time to comply with that. The other con to this is the city may not have the employees or budget to staff a drive-through testing site. So with all three solutions behind us, let's look at the most ideal of the three now, and that would be the solution that I chose and why. So the best option, emissions testing. Emissions testing not only cleans the environment, but also takes the burden of proof off of our local officers. The cost to start up may be more than, the cost effective than the lives that are lost to environmental toxins and the moments that could be lost in a crisis situation if officers were pursuing traffic citations. And like I said, perhaps the elderly or disabled citizens could apply for extensions to comply with this. It would lead to, like I said, new jobs for the city. Not many, but a few. And some of the definite pros would be less stressed veterans, happier animals, happier business owners, and police that can respond and rescue and not remind the rednecks. I had to put a little humor in there if you know me. So, in conclusion, we've looked at three options to the problem of loud vehicles. One being enforcement of current Tennessee law. The second one being creating a local ordinance. And lastly, the solution that I chose, which is what a lot of the larger areas already do. Loud vehicles do need to be properly enforced in the city of Lewisburg so that all businesses, veterans, animals, and community members can live in a world that's free of noise pollution. And while the good old boys never meant no harm by a little noise or ruckus, neither do I.